Would you like to introduce your name, year, course, and university?
Yeah, so my name's Hannah, Hannah St. George. I do media production at Bournemouth Uni and I'm a final year.
Could you tell us your hometown?
Yeah, I'm originally from Kent.
Could you tell us about your Instagram/podcast?
Yeah, okay. So on my Instagram, I sometimes post like work that I'm doing. So like obviously media production, it's a lot of like film and stuff like that. So I'll sometimes put up like portfolio stuff on there. I'm doing a podcast currently, although it's actually going to be out in April. So obviously this was filmed before. So, but I'll have that linked on there as well.
Okay. Could you remind us of the course you're currently studying at university?
The course. Wait, sorry, what was that question?
Could you remind us of the course you're currently studying at university?
Yeah, media production at Bournemouth.
Why did you choose your course?
I wanted to definitely do, when talking about media, I definitely wanted something in production. Because going into production, I feel like it's so hard to get into because it's very like hands-on with kit. So I didn't want to do a communications course and go into production through production. And it's, well, I don't know about now, but it was at the time of me applying in 2018, it was best in the country for production. So I figured it was a good way to go. And media as well. I wasn't sure if I wanted to specialize into film or if I wanted to kind of keep my options a bit more open. So that was why I went for media production rather than film.
You've now in your final year.
Yeah.
Is your year a 3 or 4 year course?
It's 3 or 4 depending on if you do a placement year or not. So I'm in my 3rd year because I didn't do a year-long placement, but you have the option whether to do like a 4-week placement or like a year-long. But obviously with COVID, it's really hard to get things right now.
What have you thought about your course for the last 3 years?
Which always keeps it interesting. Like there's quite a lot of different things you can do. So you and it's quite different in terms of like you've got individual work and group work. So it's good in terms of kind of figuring out your role in the team, in terms of if you're on like a film set, you kind of gravitate towards which parts you want to do. And yeah, it's definitely, you learn a lot because you then learn how to market things and how to like you even do like apps at some point, which is quite interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you come from a college or sixth form background?
Sixth form.
What subjects did you take in sixth form?
I did English lit, art, media, and French.
Did any of these subjects help you with your course?
Yeah, so I mean, media helped me massively because it was actually how I kind of figured out that I wanted to take media and do that further anyway. I hadn't really studied it before sixth form. It wasn't an option at GCSE where I was from, so that was kind of how I learned through that way. I would say English helped me in terms of like understanding characters. That was something that was quite cool. And then art helped me in terms of how much coursework it was. Yeah.
What do you think the best A-level/subjects are for your course?
Media, film studies probably as well. I need to think what actually, I think actually learning from, I mean, I went via sixth form, but a lot of my friends entered via college. And I think they're, because of the resources at college in terms of like more creative subjects, they had like cameras and equipment there that obviously I didn't have from a sixth form. So I think for them, the transition, because they already had that hands-on experience, they kind of already had that. So I think it depends what avenue you take, but there's going to be pros and cons to everything, I think.
Okay. Could you remind us of the university you're currently studying at?
Bournemouth.
What are the best and worst things about studying at Bournemouth University? Starting off with the worst.
Um. Oh, I think we're frozen.
Yes,
No, no, we're
the
not.
worst things about studying at
Um,
Bournemouth.
Worst. I think. Yeah. I mean, there's not something really bad. I'd say. I mean, I think I'm in my final year now, and obviously 2 years of my 3 year experience have been kind of interrupted by COVID.
Hmm.
So that's been something that's been very impactful in that obviously like you don't get like the full uni experience. I mean, even academically, because you don't get that like one-on-one like in-person time, but
Hmm.
also just in terms of like the uni experience, it's not quite the same like virtually, because you don't get like the clubbing and stuff that I did get in first year.
Hmm.
So I'd say that's probably like the most frustrating thing.
Anything else bad, or was that pretty much it about your uni experience?
That's pretty much it. I mean, it's stressful. There's a lot of deadlines because it's so much coursework, but I think
Okay.
I mean I quite like that.
And the best things about studying at Bournemouth University?
I'd say the people. I've made some really good friends here, and I'd say the resources. So like they just built. I mean, obviously with COVID, it's a bit frustrating because I don't have access to everything, but they've just built a brand new building with like studios and stuff, which is really cool.
Okay. If we now go into the accommodation, where did you live in your first year?
So first year I lived in halls. Um, yeah,
Which hall?
Cranborne
What
House.
what was it like living at Cranborne House? Was it good, bad?
Good, yeah. I mean, I think the people that I moved in with were really nice, which was good because it felt that it was really like inviting. Um, but yeah, I guess it's kind of luck of the draw who you end up with. That I think that's one of the things about halls is that like you go into it and you're all in the same boat. So it's really interesting.
If we had to place Cranborne from a party to a study house, where would you place it on the scale?
It was party.
Okay.
It was
And
party, yeah.
where did you live in your second year?
Second year, I lived in a student house.
And what was it like going from student accommodation to student housing?
Yeah, I'd say there are definitely pros and cons of both. So like in halls, like obviously when you go to pay things, all of like the bills and everything is are kind of all included in that. Whereas obviously with housing, it's kind of like a entry point to how it's going to be after you leave, because obviously you've got all of the bills, you've got contacts with a landlord, you've got all of that kind of stuff for like the first time happening um, for most people, which I think's quite good. And obviously, like you get a bigger room, which is good. Um, I guess you live with less people. So like in halls, I lived with 7 people, whereas in housing, I live with like 4, or well, currently I'm in a house of 5.
Okay. And now in your final year, where are
Mhm.
you living?
Student housing.
So what is it like now? Is it same student housing or different student housing?
Different student housing.
Is there a reason you moved, or you changed roommates?
Um, you so it's like I mean, at least where I'm from at the moment, the contracts for students are every year, so like you change every year. I mean, unless, I mean, I guess you can stay on if you'd like to, but I change each year. um,
Okay. Is there any advice you can give to students about moving into a house, as in any things they should look for or be careful of, be wary of, or how to basically look for a good house?
yeah, I would definitely view it, and go around and actually take a look for yourself, because I know that I mean, when looking for this place, when I was looking, just like looking around in general, there was one place that was advertised on the website. I can't remember what the where it was, but there was one place that was advertised on the website and it looked really, really nice. And then we turned up just to look round, and it was really horrible. It was just, there was mold everywhere. So yeah, definitely look to see, and then also try and ask the people that are living there currently, because they'll do the tours whilst the people that are living there from like the year before are still living there. So then you can kind of ask the students that are there questions, so that way you know it's not just like the person that's showing you round. You can also kind of hear directly from them, which is good.
If we're now going to the Bournemouth area, can you tell us about the Bournemouth nightlife pre-COVID?
Oh yeah, great.
What was the club for you?
Yeah, Cameo. Cameo was great. They're every Wednesdays. I mean, Toast was great. Lollipop was great. Old Fire Station. Yeah, it was really, really good nightlife, I'd say. Really good.
And if we now go to the shops, you know, like your grocery shopping, your everyday necessities, how was it? Is it more chain or more traditional?
Chained most. So like in first year when I lived in, yeah, thanks. I went to, there was just an Asda, like literally 2-minute walk from where I was living, so that was very easy, very central. And now High Street where there's a Lidl, so I mean it's cheaper in Lidl, which is better.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we go into the restaurants, again, is it more chain or is it more fast food?
More chain in Bournemouth town, I'd say. Although now, obviously, because we're not eating out, it's more like if you order things in. So I guess now it's more fast food, but actually in the town.
So what I meant was like, is it more local shops or is it more chain shops? Sorry.
I'd say more chains.
What was the shop for restaurant for you?
Ooh. There are places in like the main town by like the Odeon Cinema. There's quite a few different ones. There was like a pizza place that was really nice. Oh God, I can't remember what it was called.
What was the dish you got? The dish. What was the dish you got?
I think it was a margarita. It was really good.
Okay. Is there anything else you think students need to know about the Bournemouth area?
I really like Bournemouth as a place because for me it's like a really nice mixture of like urban and rural. So you've got like, I mean, to me, I come from a small town, so it feels very city. Yeah, so like where I'm from a small town, so going to Bournemouth, it felt a lot more city. It felt like city-like. So one thing that attracted me to Bournemouth was it felt like new and fresh and exciting, and being like city-like. Obviously, I come from a small town, so it might not feel city-like to everyone, but it felt very city and hustle and bustle for me. And then also it's then got the beach and like parks and stuff, so it's got that nice mixture of urban and rural, because you have like the countryside areas, but then also the city town kind of areas.
Okay. What general advice would you give to students about to study at university?
The studies are like workload.
So just going to university, what general advice would you give to students who are looking to start university?
I'd say make as many contacts as you can. So like going to uni, just try and socialize with everyone. Join a society would be a really good way. I'd say in terms of like workload, it might seem like quite a lot, like a step up. So know how to like schedule your own time, because obviously lectures you might have less lectures and stuff than maybe you would have had at like sixth form, but then you might be expected to do more work in your own time. So try and schedule your own time as much as you can.
What advice would you give to students about to study at Bournemouth University?
Oh, that's tricky. like Bournemouth
Could
specifically.
be anything to do with just Bournemouth coming to Bournemouth University. Any advice for them for starting?
Yeah, I mean, ooh, I'm trying to think to do with actually make it specific to Bournemouth, but I keep thinking about joining societies because I mean, I the one that I'm from, I love a lot. Specific to Bournemouth. I'll think of it as soon as this interview's over. I know it.
It's fine if you don't have anything. We can move on.
Yeah, move on.
And what advice would you give to students about to study your course at university?
The course, I would say when you're in your first year, try and do as many like projects along the side of it.
Okay.
So like obviously doing a production course, try and also produce your own stuff in your own time while you have that time in like the earlier years. While you're kind of figuring out what it is that you want to do. Because obviously like when you get to like final year, you might not be able to do as much of your own stuff.
Okay. You chose going to university over an apprenticeship / going right into work. What path did you to make this? Oh, hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Sorry for yeah, I can hear you.
So you chose going to university over an apprenticeship / going right into work. What path did you to make this choice?
I think I wanted something a bit more long term than like an apprenticeship, or at least the ones I was looking at. I wanted something that was a bit more, that was like the full however many years. And I wanted like the uni experience of like moving in somewhere and meeting loads of like-minded people, and also people from like all different backgrounds, just to kind of I think it's a really cool experience where when you're in first year, because you're meeting so many different people, I think it's really interesting to kind of go through that, and you have to go through that together because you're all in the same boat. I think for me, I wanted something that was a bit more long term than what an apprenticeship would be, or at least the ones that I was looking at. So I wanted something that was that was longer term, that opened up a lot of doors, and also the fact that I wanted the uni experience, where I could go somewhere completely fresh, start new, and I would go somewhere that I'd have like a lot of like-minded people, and also people that would differ from me, like, and that's kind of the fun of uni, is that you go there, you don't know what's going to happen, you turn up and you meet loads and loads of different people, all from all different walks of life, and you're in kind of the same boat where you kind of just figure it all out together.
Okay. Could you tell us more about your Instagram / podcast? What is your Instagram? What can we find on your Instagram? And what is your podcast going to be about?
Yeah, sure. So my Instagram handle is at Hannah_St. George. And on there, I mean, because I do media production, occasionally I'll put like a film or something that I'm making on there. So I'll do like updates to do with that and some marketing stuff. And then I'm doing a podcast currently. It's not actually out yet, but it'll be out very soon. So I'll keep updated on that. But that's actually my grad project for uni, which is
Okay.
quite exciting.
So at this point, I let students have what I like to call a free for all. You can say what you want about what you like. You could give advice. You could say something smart. You could say something dumb. Literally, the floor is yours.
Okay. I'd say advice: join a society. Make the most out of your first year. So like, I mean, in like a place where like COVID and all of that restrictions aren't a thing, go out clubbing as much as you can in your first year and make the most out of some free time and meeting new people. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'm plugged in.
Amazing. Thank you.
Cool.